Today our session MMPM 001 Block 3 Culture and Subcultural Influence, and the contents what we are going to cover: introduction, culture, meaning and significance, the characteristics of the culture, cultural values and change, the need for cross-sectional understanding of consumer behavior, and subcultures and their influence. So when we are going to talk regarding a culture, that a particular society, the way of life, what they are going to do. So here you will find one is a tangible component and another is the intangible components. Intangible components cases what the practices is it going on in a particular society. The tangible components are the what the instruments and other tangible objects we are using in that particular culture, that plays a vital role. And during this particular process, the person from the different culture, their behaviors are different, their selection of particular kind of product, the colors, the shapes, sizes, that differs from culture to culture. So we'll start with the introduction. Culture has a profound effect on family life, living patterns, social interaction, and it is indeed in input in the shaping. So when we are going to talk regarding a culture, that is the family life is the smallest unit in this particular culture, where we will find that the living patterns differ from one family to another family, but within the culture you may find that the living patterns are very much similar, and social interactions are also based on that, whether it is a open system, whether it is a closed systems. So social interactions takes place, and depending on the culture, how interactive these people are is only based on this particular culture. And here most of the things in culture that differs from one culture to another culture is the values, what values they are going to give, what are the norms in the societies, then attitudes of the customers, positive, negative, neutral kind of things, and personalities. So culture wise also we have the different kind of personalities, that is sometimes religion based, or we can say the practices based, and perceptions. So we will find the perception differs, like we can say that the traditional practices, or we can say that the attitude of the people are changing because they are into the different life, or they maintain with the different life. Their forefathers are living in a different way. So that's the kind of perceptions they have already kept, and that practices they're trying to do. So culture wise, you will find the practices are very common, which is coming from their parents or the grandparents. So generation to generation it is transferring, and some kind of adjustment might be happening. So culture, the definition: culture is a complex set of values, ideas, beliefs, attitudes, and other meaningful symbols created by the human beings to shape human behavior. So we'll find in the culture that what we discussed already, that is values means which items, or which products, or which services, which practices we are giving more values, that is always carried out. And ideas, the what ideas is it coming, creative or they are less creative, like we can say regarding internationally, that abroad people, if are going to talk, just like Japan culture is different from American culture. The kind of products they are making, just like the cars in US is bigger size and cars in Japan is smaller size. It depends on the what cultures they have maintained. And Swiss watch kind of things, we are going to want the Switzerland's when the things are coming. So concepts are different. So culture wise, we are going to find the product shape and size is also different. And the symbols, certain symbols are there. Just like we can say that white symbol is not good for China. They talked regarding that is a death symbol. So white products are not selling very well in China. But country like India, where you will find that yellow, red colors selling very high, and all those product cases, and very rarely the black colors being accepted. But day by day, as the culture is changing, also people are accepting equally, but not always. In the family members are using the black colors product. So culture results from interactions between people, and the function of culture is to establish mode of conduct. So what is the mode of conduct? How the people are behaving with each other. So that reflects that particular culture, and standards of performance, that the skillness, semi-skilled, on-skilled, fully skilled, that performance you are going to find. It depends also on the culture. So culture to culture, you will find there is a difference. The ways of dealing with people in interpersonal relationships. So interpersonal relationships also it affects, because if the family is the smallest unit, you will find that here the male female relationships and children relationships, husband wife relationships, that is based on the culture. So culture wise we can say which is dominated. Some of the culture cases, women dominated societies, male dominated societies are there. Decision making capabilities are also culture wise differences there. Color selections wise, what I discussed already, that is the way the people are taking opinion on the basis of the colors. Within a given culture, subcultures arise due to geographic, religious, nationality, and ethnic differences. So subculture is a part of the culture. For there you will find very rare changes will be there, but that is again also based on that what I called its tangible aspect and intangible aspects cases you will find. But with the culture to culture, there is a lot many differences. But within the subculture, might be coming under the same culture, but they are location wise that is different. As we can say that the culture of Hinduism culture might be the same, but you will find from state to states little bit differences we are going to find. That is from Odisha to West Bengal, West Bengal to Bihar, Bihar to Jharkhand, then Jharkhand to Assam, like that. But you will find all these eastern regions might have the similar culture, but there is a subcultures you are going to find. South side also similar cultures are there, but Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. So there is subcultures type of things. That means very little differences you are going to find in the practices and product selections. So distinct components of the culture. So first is the internal mental culture and external material culture. So internal mental culture is what we have accepted, what kind of products we are purchasing, what we have carried it out from our parents or the grandparents. That is the internal things. External things, anything is it changing with your culture, so that is also you are trying to change the culture. Very often we have seen the practices like marriages, thread ceremonies and other cases. The culture is changing. What it was our grandparents are doing, we are not exactly trying to do the same thing, because that the external material is cultures are there. Some of the materials are not available. Some of the materials are not possible to do. So there is a lot of restrictions in the society, and there is a government rules also. So because of that also our culture is changing from time to time. The internal mental cultures. So the cognitive component of cultures consists of that ideas and knowledge, such as ideas about gods, ideas about supernatural phenomena, and concepts on afterlife. So we have seen that the kind of rituals we are going to do and worshipping the gods, if we are going to compare that is with the generation to generation, there might be we are going to find little bit changes is it happening. That is only because of that our mental culture is to carry out that kind of cultures, but at the same time also there is an external force or external material component which is trying to change this one. Otherwise we will find the same worshipping still also we are going to the temples worshipping the same. Brahmins are doing this particular rituals as for that one, and we have seen several god cases also, although 3 to 4 generation has gone, but still also the same practices is it going on. The normative component of internal mental culture consists of its values, rules of conduct, and norms which regulate behavior. Like I can say that what the practices mostly done in the different religion and cultures. So that is the same practices, still it is continuing, but little bit deviations are there. But the rules of conduct, what rules you need to do, how to go to, that means worshipping the god, whether what the norms you are going to obey, how to prepare your house as per the vastu, all those kind of things still also it is continuing. People have the great faith on that. The practices, what is it happening, we are going to continue that particular practices, but little bit change might be, if it is possible, that little bit change which is very much acceptable to the society, that may be possible, that they are going to do. External material cultures. So external material cultures refers to the things that we can see, touch, use in our day-to-day life. That we can say the pattern of dresses, then we can say the utensils what you are using, the houses what we are constructing, So all these things, if you are going to find that earlier the clay culture was there, later on the cement and brick culture came, then concrete culture came. So these are the things day by day as the technology is developing. So we are more into that kind of materials we are using. Then if you are going to say that the worshipping the gods earlier, we are using the brass, then we are using those days copper, but nowadays that is also equally being replaced by the steel, and also we are going to find some extent other things also we are trying. So this is touch and use in our day-to-day living. So day-to-day living, there are a lot of materials being changed, lot of products being changed, lot of photographs and other thing, house constructions, our vehicle shape and sizes. So everything is related to our culture, because earlier the vehicles are little bit bigger. Nowadays they are going to make the vehicles as per the requirement. They are trying to reduce the size, reduce the weight to show more efficiency, more fuel efficiency that they want to do. So that is mostly the vehicle shapes and sizes are changing. And if you are going to see, the light patterns also changed. So technology has a great impact on the cultural changes. The material culture allows us to express ourselves aesthetically, as for instance in art, music, theater, clothing, and housing, and to protect ourselves from the elements. Like we know it very well that we have certain cultures, we have seen that dye arts. So certain arts are dying in the market, because that these art forms people are unable to do very rarely. Just like I can say that stone arts day by day is dying very rarely. People have just like terracotta arts also you will find. Certain dance forms are also going away because people are not liking to do that one. So this is what that is a kind of culture what we have seen from last so many years. But day by day, because of the trainers, less number of trainers, and people interest towards that kind of culture has gone down. So people are not interested. So this kind of culture carrying became a challenge for the characters, or challenge for the actors. So clothing and housing, so clothing also equally being changed. That if you are going to talk regarding the women gatherings, so type of ornaments are they using? Earlier there are a lot of ornaments are they using. Day by day women are using less ornaments. Then males have the dresses what they are wearing day by day because of the Western culture. So we are more into the Westernization of our own culture. Is it happening? So we are using this kind of product, clothing and other things. N culture. So what is N culture? Internalizing the prevailing cultural values over time is called N culture. So that means generation to generation, whether we are trying to keep that particular culture, we try to eat the same kind of food, we are deviating from main food to the other foods, or the traditional food pattern being changed and new forms of foods being demanded. But most of the practices we have seen that if it is a rituals, the food preparations are still with the same thing what our earlier generations have done. So carrying out the practices, carrying out the same materials what they are using those days. So if today's people are going to use like that. So that is N culture, prevailing cultural values over time. Means time to time we are keeping that particular practices as done by our parents, as done by their using different things. So children are learning also the same thing from the parents, starting from how to walk, how to wear, which are the retail outlet you should go, what kind of product they have to purchase, and besides that also the practices, different functions, how their parents are doing. Children are also trying to accept these kind of things. That may be due to the dresses, that may be due to the other practices. Now, characteristics of culture. So, what are the different characteristics? What we have seen, culture is invented. We will find that a group of people, if they are staying together and they are maintaining or practicing one kind of cultures, we can say it is invented. Just like we can say any new thing is it coming to their mind and doing that one, and they are not going to obey anyone else. So that is still we are going to. So we have seen also very often that tribal cultures. So tribal cultures are very lessly developed, or they are very lessly accustomed with the modern culture. So that's why still they are practicing that one, worshipping the plants, worshipping the Devi in their village, and taking the food. Before taking the food, giving this particular offer to the god. So these are the three still their practices. Still they are using the also not the modern weapons, that is the same arrows and other things they are using. So this means that the culture is invented. It is not a set of instinctive responses. Means there is no new cultures you are going to do. You are every time no old cultures you are going to do. Every time you are going to find it out. Any new thing is it coming to mind, or it may be a new kind of practices you are going to do that became a new culture. It is a way of thinking, feeling, acting that results from the years of accumulated experience and is handed down from one generation to another generation. Means you are going to start a new kind of things, that adjusting yourself with the circumstances, starting with a new invention kind of things. It may be a product, like I can say that the transformation of petroleum vehicles into the electrical vehicles, that is the transformation takes place. And here people thinking as the environment is not giving right support to the people, because of that the scarcity or overutilization of the environmental products. So that's why people are now thinking that some else sources being used, so that next generation is going to adopt that one. Like we have started already the ethanol, then we have started with the lithium batteries, then we have started with the that is electric vehicles. So these will be the futures, and maybe the solar energy vehicles may be the future kind of cultures what people are going to accept. These are the innovations mostly invented and inventing people are trying to invent, and people are going to accept in the next generation. The response patterns are transmitted through values, attitudes, beliefs, customs. So what people are responding that to particular culture, the new culture. So that is actually transmitted, that became a symbol, and that is going to the next generation. Now culture is a set of learned responses. Means every time we are trying to learn the culture, how we are going to learn. So there are people in our society who are educating us regarding a particular culture. Like we can say priests are there who are educating what are the practices. Our parents are there who are practicing that one. We are into the society where society people are doing some activities and we are trying to follow that one. So that is mostly is it happening. So two types of things culture is learned response. One is pattern instructions, formal and informal. So we are learning from others. Maybe formal, we are directly joining there, getting the educations of practices. Second part is that informal, like friends and other people are educating you what should be your patterns, patterns of study, patterns of practices, patterns of utility of product. So this is formal and informal cases we have gone for the pattern instruction. Second is that imitations. So most often we have imitating the behavior from our parents, and the parents what the practices they have done or they are doing. So we are trying to do also the same practices. Even if also if you will find these conditions in the marketing, we have a tendency to go to similar retail outlets as our parents have gone to the retail outlets. So we follow them, and the types of dresses, materials they have purchased, we are also some way purchasing the similar kind of dresses and materials. Now under that the pattern instruction, this is the formal learning of values through the family members of what is right or wrong. The practices mostly we have seen also very often depending on the culture, depending on the religions, our practices differs, and our father and mother educating us what to do, what not to do. Means what are the do's of a culture and what is the don'ts of a culture. So they are educating from when we are children, then we are developing ourselves, and we try to make exactly the same thing what they have taught us. But we cannot say that will be always the exact things, because when you will be adult, So we are trying to be gratified, means we are going to be satisfied the practices. If we are not satisfied with the practices, we may change also. So this is pattern instructions cases, mostly priest institutions or our parents or the grandparents are giving instructions regarding the different kind of practices. Now, immediate learning. So this is a formal learning and involves imitating the behavior of the friend. So this is very often is it happening that we try to follow, like we can say that if you are going to the village area or you are going to the urban area, we try to observe the friends, those who are staying in village area. We try to see the friends in the urban area. So we try to learn them, how are they walking, talking, taking foods, practicing different kind of worship, going to the different temples, going to the different hotels. So these are the things mostly we are trying to imitate from your friends. Even if also the family members, if the families are staying somewhere and that's coming under a new culture, we do not have the culture knowledge regarding that particular culture. So that particular cases, what is it happening that we are trying to imitate this one. And very often we have seen our imitation is more towards the television and digital media, as our time consumption is more on the television and more on the digital media, that is cell phone. So that's why our pattern changes is more often being by the television and digital media. As we know it very well nowadays, few cartoon characters they are throwing, and we have seen the children are also equally changing their behavior as for the cartoons what they are trying to do. So this is how often happening that imitating, the children are trying to imitate the cartoon characters. So many advertisements influence the consumer and enhance formal learning by providing the audience with a model to imitate. So repetition of the advertisement reinforce beliefs and values. So you may not believe from the beginning because of the repetition advertisement. Like we can say that the Vim bar advertisement is it going on through the lemon, so it can able to clean or digest the stain. So after seeing too many times, we are also equally trying to see and experiment with that particular product, and we are equally satisfied that that is doing true. That is true. What is it happening? So we are trying to also going to know that these are the things actually happening and these are the things not happening. Culture is shared. So whenever we are going to practice any functions, anything, so you cannot do individually. Like if it is a marriage ceremony, you need to call people. If it is a thread ceremony, you need to call people. So you want to enjoy yourself with the family members and the outside members. So that is what culture is shared. So various social institutions within a society, namely the family, social class, educational institutions, and religious organizations make the share of the culture. Like we can say within the family we are enjoying the functions. Social class, belonging to the same social class, we have the functions, party, kitty party, too many things we are trying to do. Educational institutions, programs like welcome programs, farewell programs, annual functions, all those cases we are trying to also share our if you have the talent, like we can dance very well, we can sing very well, so that is we are sharing among the friends or within the institutes. And the religious organization means if you are going to the temples, then we are also learning some things there. Also we are trying to share, we are party to that one, either if you become a preacher or you want to be a good learner there, so you are there. Culture is gratifying and persistent. So here you will find that culture, there are some component acceptable component, or certain components are not acceptable components. So we are always into the components, that is what we are going to say the gratifying. Like we can say that for worshipping any particular kind of god, so there is a requirement of a particular quantity of fruits you need to do, but these fruits are not available at all, and some of the fruits are maybe poisonous. So in order to fulfill that 28 fruit or 30 fruit or 50 fruits, what we are trying to do, so these are the fruits available in the temples, the stalls nearby the temples, and these contents we are trying to satisfy that Brahmins that these things are going to be sown. But after certain days, if this thing will not be available, so priests are going to do their work with the limited products also. So that is what gratifying. What is it available? You need to satisfy through that one. So that is a psychological need and personal needs. So you are going to be satisfied. So gratifying and persistent. Culture is dynamic and adapts. So, in spite of resistance to change in society, culture are gradually and continuously changing. So, what we can say that the dynamic means that every time this can be changed, adoptions is easy. We can say there are certain culture where the rules and norms are very strict, and certain culture where rules and norms are not so strict. So it depends on the country also. Certain countries are not never going to accept any kind of new practices, but certain countries are eager to accept these kind of practices. So we cannot say that once we can call it as a democratic country, it is quite easy to practice one kind of cultures in a democratic country rather than the non-democratic country, because non-democratic countries mostly it is a authoritarian government is there, so practicing any other kind of practices they may be punished for that. But in democratic country where everybody got the rights, so there if you are practicing something, the newness will be there, still people are trying to accept it. So many factors are likely to produce cultural change, such as new technologies, resource shortages, such as those of energy and water, and customs borrowed from other cultures. So that is happening also, that collecting water from the other sources, energy. So some of the countries are fully depending on the solar power. Some of the countries are depending on the wind power. Some of the countries are depending on the hydro powers. So this depends on that what kind of facilities are available in that particular country, and they are trying to do. Means where wind is every time blowing, so wind power is possible. Where every time solar system means very rarely you will find that sun is rainy season will be there. So there you will find that mostly these people are using the this kind of solar panels. And hydro gases, it is a costly affair. So mostly they want to see hill areas, water flowing in the river must be there. So storage is store it and go for the generator to generate the electricity. This became a challenge. So these kind of cultures we are going to find that energy and waters having a different culture, and cultural changes to find new opportunities. Means when you are changing the cultures, the opportunities are plenty. But if you are not changing, we are stagnant to our culture. So that particular time it is quite difficult. That it is not opportunities. This can be a threat. So that's why people are day by day changing their culture. Now, culture is an organized and integrated whole. Means elements of a culture are consistent and woven together to form a whole. Means we cannot say culture, what are the components we have seen, this is mismatching to each other. This is definitely going to match each other. Means if I can say, if you connect the product with the practices, you will find what kind of product you require for the practices, that will be definitely good for your health. And that is altogether is completeness. It is showing the completeness. Means culture can be completed with these all components if you are gathering together. So that is the kind of things it will happen. Otherwise, you cannot do like that. Means if it is culture is not incomplete, then dissatisfaction takes place, because the ingredients what you require may not be available. The practices is incomplete with that particular ingredients. So you will be unhappy. So to make it as an integrated whole, so everything are available, and which component is not available, they are trying to wipe it out, because it is not essential to wait for that particular components. Now culturals are similar but different. What we can say that if we go through every culture, we are trying to find that if it is a religion based, the four things are definitely present. So ceremony during the birth, ceremony during the adults, ceremony during the marriage, and ceremony during the death. So it may be Christianity, it may be Hinduism, it may be Muslim. So every time you are going to find this, the same cultures are there, same kind of practices are there. But little bit differences that way of practices. That means the kind of components they require and the way of practices the priests are trying to do. So that will be different. But otherwise, that is almost similar. So cultures are similar yet different. So in terms of element that they exhibit, cultures are strikingly similar. You would find elements like social institutions of family, marriage, ritual, schools, government, housing, religious rituals, social functions, personal adornments, calendars, language, music, dance, government, law. In every society or culture you may interestingly study. So here you will find that every culture there is a study part is there. They have to educate their society, educate the children. The music part is also there, for the different form, different religions. Then dance forms are also, dance forms are different from location to location. Is it happening? Houses constructed are also, we are going to find different. What that is, same house roof and other things will be there, but the shape and sizes will be different. Religious rituals, what I already discussed, almost same. Social functions also, they are inviting the people for a specific functions. These functions are also similar from religion to religion. Then personal adornments, mostly women are having the adornments, so they are going for all kind of dresses, ornaments. So that is the similar practices in all the kind of religions we are going to find. So this is what we call it as cultures are similar, but little bit differences are there. Culture is prescriptive. So culture determines desirable norms or patterns of behavior so that in a given cultural context, people have a common appreciation of what is right and wrong. So in the culture, you will find that they are trying to appreciate which is right and which is wrong. And always you will find when culture shifted from one generation to another generation, what is appreciated will be always carried out, and what is it not, it is a wrong practice, so they want to cut it down, they do not want to practice it again. So this is the kind of things very often is it happening. So that is pursuance of the norms, moods, values, beliefs that prevail in the given society. So what are the norms? Acceptable norms will be switchover, that is shifted from one generation to another generation. Otherwise, if it is not acceptable norms, so it is not transforming, or it is not followed by the people for the long duration. Now the cultural values. What are the different cultural values you have seen? Cultural values are the important to the organization and intent and nature of culture. A cultural values can be defined as a widely held beliefs and endures over time. That means what we are believing, whether the belief is changing or not with the environmental changes, or we are still continuing with that one. So that we are going to find in the cultural values. So that values, which values they are giving the higher importance, which values they are giving the lower importance. Values therefore produce inclinations to the response to the standard ways. So what you are giving the values, so that is the way you are going to that means practice, or that is the rituals you are going to do, which values are more and less. So that you are going to make a standard ways. They serve as standards or criteria for behavior. So your behavior is being controlled by the kind of culture you are belonging to. Values deal with modes of conduct and therefore transcend specific situation, and we therefore have the culture two types of values. So we have two type of values. One is your instrumental, second is the terminal. So terminal cases states of existence, why it existed, what is the utility of this particular values. Instrumental modes of conduct, what is the practices, what you are trying to do. So core values is that these are the dominant or basic cultural values. What is the a basic culture around that all other cultures will develop? That basic cultural core values always remain constant, because that is not going to change. That means if you can't say, you are going to say that I do not want to worship the God, so that will be completely different. So, but if you are going to worship in a different manner, so that is acceptable. So here what it is going to say that the culture is completely that core based on the core values. And it is not necessary that the core values be exclusive to a particular culture. Several values are borrowed to adapt to the people who immigrates to the society. So we are not only carrying out the core values. We said that some extra values are also borrowed from maybe from the different religions, and that is being joined with the core values, and finally we are carrying out these kind of things from one generation to next generation. Now core values, under that progress. So how people are progressing, how is the growth, what kind of practices are they doing, agricultural practices, industrial practices, tertiary practice, service practices. So what kind of things they are giving more importance. Achievement in that particular society, what is the percentage of achievement, are they real intellectuals, are they always achieving, getting the success. So this reflects one kind of region. Are they skilled people, are they always getting success on their skill. Second is coming activity. Being and keeping active in widely acceptable as a healthy and necessary part of life. So, what activities are you going to do? So, practices you are going to do, keeping active in widely acceptable. So, are you active most of the time? You are on inactive or you are in dull. So that reflects also your culture, how quickly you are going to do. We can say that Japanese people are working around more than 12 hours. Indian people are working 8 hours. So we can say that activities wise Japan is more active than the Indian people in this particular regard. Humanitarianism. So here, what humanitarianism is there? Means humanities you are going to study. Are you giving respect to the people, respect to the society? Whether your norms of the society is based on to give equality in behavior to the children, to parents, as to the women, to the male person. Individualism. Are you working together or individual? Your individual contributions you are trying to give. What extent you are as an individual successful or you are in a group is successful. All these things can be. Next is the efficiency and practicality. Efficiency is what extent your system is efficient. Like we can say that you are skilled, semi-skilled or unskilled. So efficiency will be more in the skilled people and less will be unskilled people. So more is the skilled people, definitely your efficiency is better. You can produce the better product, better efficient products, and acceptability of the product will be very high. Practicality means what you are going to say, what are you talking that is having sense or do not have sense. If it is having sense means that practically you can able to prove it. So if you are going to give a proven activities rather than a conceptual or rather than you are going to say a particular idea, so you are giving all practical things, what is it possible in the society or in the market. Marketer try to appeal to consumer values through advertising, product concepts and design. Means what you want to give through your product is the values. Your qualitative values, you are lessening the price structure, this product is efficient, it is going to reduce the effort of the customer. So you are designing this particular product and that you are going to give to the customers, and customers also equally dependent on the product. So that is the consumer values you are trying to give. It has been found that the two values what we have already discussed, we will go for more on that. Comfort, security, pleasure are influential in the choice of the product class. So when we are going to talk terminal values, so here comfort, what is the level of comforts you are thinking of? Security is there and pleasure. So all the positive aspects you are trying to take in the case of terminal values means with the limited efforts, if you are getting more comfort, limited effort, getting more securities and pleasure like that. Second is the instrumental values, that is broad-mindedness. So you are accepting everything. You are not going to claim that this is not performing, this is performing. What you are going to talk regarding terminal values. So rather than instrumental values, you are going to say that is important, that should be consumed. It may not have give much more comfort or much more security or pleasure, but some extent is it giving. So that's why we are ready to accept this one. So that is what broad-mindedness become important in the brand choice selections or decisions. Now the terminal values. So when we are going to talk regarding the terminal values, a world of at peace means the people are very much interested for the free of war and conflicts. They want to be like after Second World War, there is a terms and conditions maintained between US and Japan, that Japan will not put his military things. So he wants to save that amount because this is the restrictions they have put that they cannot go for the military base. So what it is happening, Japanese people became more peaceful people. So they do not want any kind of war. They do not want any kind of against anybody. So that is the cultures they have started. So free of war and culture or war and conflicts, these kind of countries they are very much interested in. Family security. So if you are loving too much or giving more importance to the family, that is another kind of terminal values in the culture. Freedom. Freedom is what? That independence or independence you can give to your opinion You can give the opinion against anybody. That must not be personal. So like that, you that is the securities you freedom you got it. But it is not possible in every country. So democratic country cases you might be going to get some extent freedom, but in other non-democratic countries you may not get the freedom of choice or free choice to speak something. So otherwise you will be arrested or maybe punished very heavily, or penalty might be you have to give a huge amount. Equality, brotherhood, equal opportunity for all. So you are going to give that one. Then we are going to say regarding happiness. Some of the people are very much interested for the happiness, self-respect, giving respect to the different people. Older age people giving this particular respect. So we'll find Britain is more into that, giving respect to the old age people. So higher respect they are going to give. Wisdom, a mature understanding of the life, means your expectations, what you are going to get. National security, protection from attacks. So how the country can able to protect you? Like recently, you can able to know that when Russia was against the war against the Kiev, so that particular time, so you will find that they didn't get any national security because the country is completely destroyed, but they have not got any kind of security regarding that one. True friendship, so how closely you are related to that, also that values you are going to see. Salvation, eternal life, worshipping the God, doing that. A sense of accomplishment, you are trying to complete your works within a particular time frame. So that is you have your society must have that kind of. So you are more into the nature, like Maldives and other countries are focusing mostly on the Malaysia. Then you are going to find that Switzerland. So these countries are more into the beauty of the nature. They want to do that. A comfortable life, prosperous life, that people want to live with a prosperous, rich, and this one comfortable. US people are trying to do. An exciting life, stimulating, active life. So how actively you are participating on the different occasions, different programs. Social recognitions, that is self-esteem or kind of things is there. So every person is also having the rights to get the status. Mutual mature love, sexual spiritual intimacy. So here you will find people are giving respect. They can love, they can take their own decisions. That is happening in few countries, not all the countries. Inner harmony, freedom from inner conflict. So inner harmony means how harmonious that what you are doing and what you are practicing, that is with that what you are thinking. So that you are going to do, that is the pleasure and enjoyable leisurely life. So when you are getting time, you have enough amount of money to go to the different locations and you can enjoy. So that is the pleasure activities you have. Now instrumental values. So this is cheerful. People are day by day cheerful, light-hearted, joyful, means they want to go. They are trying to see that people will be always happy. Love, affection, tender. So love must be there among the people. Honest. So the honesty means transparency. So discuss all the matters with everybody. Do not try to support a specific person on the basis of your only relationship. Do not do like that. Self-control, restraint, self-discipline. Try to maintain how many people are there. So you are self-discipline and then trying to do. Capable, competent, effective. So how capable you are to do the different activities or climatic changes or this one that you are going to say. Ambitious, mostly hardworking people are more aspiring, means more interested for the better job. Polite, courteous, well-mannered people are giving respect very nicely. They are very much polite. Imaginative means they are always in the creative. They are producing that new products. Most of the innovations are taking place. That is independent, self-reliance. That you are independently can able to do some kind of things. Intellectuals, you are very much intelligent, or you have the capability to do too many kind of things. Broad-minded, open-minded, everything you are going to accept. The culture is completely open. That any new culture people are coming, so you are accepting and you are trying to do. Just like our Prime Minister told, Vasundhara Kutumbakam, like we is the Hindu religion. We are accepting everybody is like a mehman or tourist to our country, and we are treating them very well. Logical, that is rational. So whatever the things you are going to do, purchasing product and doing, making the bargaining, getting at the product at the exact price and doing that one. Courageous, standard of the your beliefs, that means having less belief and more confident than what you are trying to do, that is courageous you are going to do that. Obedient, so how obedient you are, following the rules of your elders, following the rules of the parents, teachers, like that. Helpful, giving help to others, social networks kind of things, or social platforms, you are helping other people, those who are socially or economically very backward. Then responsible, and you are taking the risk or any kind of hazards, any kind of problems, you are taking the risk to do that one. And clean, neat, TD, that means mostly we are maintaining clean. And forgiveness or forgiving, you are giving excuse to others, means anybody has done, committed a wrong thing has happened, so you are helping to how to come out from that. Changing cultural trends in the Indian urban market. So we have seen there is a drastic change in our Indian achieving orientation, intrinsic and extrinsic motivational things is it happening. Mostly you will find that the external part and internal way how we are motivated. So intrinsic cases, we are motivating from our side, from our own, and motivating from other society. So society is helping you to achieve orientation. That is one kind of culture. Work ethic, people are very much workaholic to do works. So present day consumers are breaking away from the traditional work practices and are involved in the high pressure, fast paced jobs, means staying more times in the offices and work life balance being disturbed because of that. So giving less time to the family and giving more time to the offices because of the culture being changed to or more with a little span or limited time periods if they're trying to do. So nowadays things are happening that what you were purchasing earlier, now this is available in your doorsteps, like grocery online shopping, using food deliveries, Zomato, Swiggy, everything is available. So your pattern being changed that you can order it when you are returning from the office, and the moment you reach to your office, the delivery boy can come and deliver you. Changing cultural trends in Indian urban markets. So we have seen that young professionals between these particular ages, material success, more into spending money on the materials, TV, cars, refrigerator, houses, like that. This segment selects products and brands with a symbolic overtone, most like to signal to society that they have arrived. So achieving something that is happening. So people are trying to get the material success by comparing that I have the car, I have the investment of this amount, and cars having this particular brand, like that. So middle of the road approach to tradition, that this is a segment of consumers who are urban, well educated. So traditional to the urbanizations of these things is it happening. People are mostly tending towards to urban. Even if also people are living in the rural area, their culture is day by day changing. They are more into the Hindi serials, English serials, news also they are trying to do, rather than they are following their own traditional kind of channels and radios and TVs, like that. So they are preferring the channels also, international channels, cell phones also, high end gadgets also they are trying to purchase. Changing cultural trends in Indian market, impulse gratification. A new urban young adults have an obsessive desire to purchase goods and services using credit cards. So day by day, the things being changed that during these demonetizations, the concept being changed that majority of the people can able to pay through the Paytm, and we have seen day by day our retail outlets, even if also very small retail outlets like Beatles shops can able to accept the Paytm or any card transactions, like also even if also fund transfer already taken place through the Airtel system, cell phone, if it is there, also directly will transfer. So these are the things. Use of high tech products. So people are nowadays using that the CCTV cameras, then CCTV cameras through also Wi-Fi systems. They are going through Bluetooth technologies. They are going for, and high-end machineries. They are trying to use cleaning utensils. They are going for that. The kind of things, that is the high-tech products they are using. Laptops also having that not essential flash memory. Laptops are available. Then laptops can take also the cloud computing. That's the concept which is coming day by day. This is changing, and you can transfer this one once you are purchasing a new cell phone. Also, it's not essential that the data will be transferred. So automatic cloud computing also, the data can be transferred, and that can be done. Cultural variations. So languages, we are going to see that language wise we are different from each other. Like state to states, the language differs in India. Customs, the dress pattern, the kind of product we are purchasing, the customs change. The wearing dresses, handshake, giving namaskar to the people, or handshake to the people, or different kind of connotations being used like that. Like Japanese people, how they are giving their respects to the other. So these things being changing. Taboos are the restrictions. So there are certain symbols, certain products restrictions are there in the market. We can say we cannot use this kind of symbols, and this kind of symbols also we are using. Like we can say the swastik symbol is very popular among the Hindu religion. So most of the houses and other cases that swastik symbols being used. But we can say that like your ghost symbols and other symbols, which is a taboo restriction. Certain colors not being accepted, like the black colors in the marriages and other things. Still, also that became a taboos. We are not using till now. Also, we are not giving to anybody who is newly married or like that. Gender norms. So we are going to find that variations on the basis of the practices, dresses, going to the different areas. Like still also that is continuing that during death also female person cannot go to the graveyard, or male person can do this particular kind of culture. So these things are also still continuing, and the women, they have to go through the different rituals, and male has to go through the different rituals. That are the norms being changed. Religion wise, we know it very well that religion wise persons are different. The dresses, the cultural practices, the kind of worships what they're doing. So everything is it changing day by day, and people are trying to see how is it changing, and how these particular practices, the products are marketer are trying to do the product like that to sell this one to that religion. History, culture's history shapes their sense of self, their pride, and their sense of like we know it very well that India is proud of also for the warriors, those who have fought for India. Rani Lakshmibai, Tipu Sultan, Mahatma Gandhi. Thus a few people are there. Then Subhash Chandra Bose. So several people are there. We have not only as a warriors, but also we have seen the preachers like Buddha Deva, Jainism, Hinduism, everything being started the country like India. So we have a great history in our country, and we try to follow these kind of rituals day to day life. Now it is about the cross cultures. So when we are going to talk regarding the culture being destroyed by the cross culture, because that we are always with the different kind of culture people. So what is it happening? We are unable to keep our culture intact, what followed by our grandparents, because day by day your culture is being mixed with the other cultures. So that is what cross culture, relating the different cultures in comparison between them. So these kind of things are happening. So earlier when we are going to talk regarding the dresses and other things, so kind of weird dresses people are wearing as a women, as a male, during our previous generation. Day by day this kind of wear is changing, and there is a great impact from the Western countries. We try to follow them in terms of dressing sense, in terms of education practices, cultural practices, all these things. Now, cross-cultural values dimensions. So, what are the dimensions? What we have seen that power distance, the extent to which the less powerful members of the organization and institutions accept and expect that the power is distributed unequally. So, power distance is still there. We have seen within this particular culture that where he is finding that this culture is not giving that particular power and equality. So people are trying to shift from one practices or one ritual or one religion to another religion. This is very often happening that conversion ratios are day by day it's changing because of people are changing from Muslim to Christianity, Christianity to Hindu, Muslim to Hindu, Hindu to Muslim, like that. Very often this kind of things is happening. So where people are going to see themselves that we are not getting the power in our culture or our ritual practices. So it's better to be a member of another culture where I will get the power and I can enjoy that particular kind of thing. So this is also some extent happening. Individualism, the degree to which individuals are integrated into groups. So you are in a groups and you are practicing certain kind of things and you may not change it, but day by day the groups may also some extent change you. That what the practices you are doing, you may not able to do the same practices and again and again. Either they can, the group is going to control you, or the group is trying to change from one culture to the next culture. So cross-culturalism is very easy when you are in a group. Masculinity, the distribution of the roles between the genders. So day by day, what we have seen that the male and female concepts being changed. That LGBT concepts came to existence. So this is mostly we can say that the Western culture is now grasping the other countries' culture with this particular kind of concepts. People are more into that kind of things, changing their culture. So many kind of variations we have seen in the LGBT communities, and day by day the countries are trying to, even if also in India, the Supreme Court has supported this particular the rights given to this kind of thing. So this is also another way by cross-cultural things. Uncertainty avoidance, a society's tolerance for the uncertainty and ambiguity. So like anything is it happening, you do not like it. So that is also acceptability of other culture can be possible. You do not like a particular kind of ritual, so you are into not to stay with that particular culture. You want to be the different culture or religions. That is going to happen. Long-term orientation, values associated with the long-term orientations. Values associated with short-term orientations are respect for the tradition, fulfillment, social regulation, protecting one's space. So we have the last so many years giving the respect to our elders and doing the activities. So this is not always possible. That maybe sometimes you may not like this one, just the kind of practices what is it happening. So you may change. So our people, those who are mostly NRI, there is a difference between the NRI versus the Indian people, because the kind of practices are they doing that is completely cross-cultural. Although they are staying abroad, but their culture is not similar to the culture maintained in our country. Indulgence versus restraint. So a culture high restraint suppresses gratification of the needs, and so you are trying to gratification. You are not going to get suppressing gratification. You are not satisfied with a particular kind of thing, so you are restricting. You are going against that particular kind of culture practices. That is very often happening. Social norms also. We are not following. We do not want to follow that one also, as we are not getting the satisfaction out of that. Subcultures is a distinctive culture groups that exist within a layered, complex society as an identifiable segment in the norms of beliefs and customs. So mostly we are trying to see like what we have already discussed. Types of subculture: racial, nationality, substance. So racial is mostly practices in US, that is Hispanian. You are going to find then Hispanic, then black, Jews, like that they are going to do. Indian causes casteism also still there. Religious subcultures, we are going to find the practices what we people are trying to do. So the practices may be mixing of certain things. So there is a similarities you are going to find, also different cultures are there. So that is because of the joint of the different cultures. Next is the geographical locations wise region subcultures are there within a particular state. One kind of cultural practices is there, but still we'll find there is just little bit differences in the geographical location spaces. That is very often happening. Age subcultures, age wise, we have seen that new generations are practicing in a new culture. Their food pattern, their practices are different. Then elderly market, elder people are also equally trying to do. They are doing in a different culture, product purchasing traditional methods. They are mostly trying to follow and going by this particular incomes also discrimination and incomes there. Gender subcultures, so gender wise differences, working women versus the housewives differences, what we have seen already, that their purchases, their kind of activities doing are different. So today I think that this is a very nice discussions regarding this particular topic, that is culture and subculture, and I think that you will get a great knowledge regarding that. Thanking you.